Today, we're going to talk about caregiver stress, which I know is a common topic that we have talked about, but I'm just going to go ahead and go into a little bit more detail today and talk about the working caregiver, give a brief overview of elder health, how to balance work and caregiving, how to be a healthy caregiver, and some options for some in-home support as a caregiver. So here at Elder Health, our mission is to provide personalized services and information to help seniors remain independent and live with dignity in their own homes. We also have our Employee Family Caregiver Support Program, which is what this webinar falls under. We can come to corporations and do lunch and learns about family caregiving, attend corporate health fairs. We do these webinars every month on the third Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. And then we also have online courses for family caregivers. If you haven't checked those out yet, you can find them just on our website. So who is a family caregiver and what do they do? I think it's important to just start with the basics. Family caregiver is a friend, family member, or loved one who provides assistance for an older adult or somebody with a disability. So family caregivers can live near or far from the person that they're caring for, and they help with a broad range of services such as meal preparation, housekeeping, medication management, transportation, and personal care needs. Here in San Diego, there are about, well, over 650,000 unpaid family caregivers. And the average caregiver is a 46-year-old married woman who works outside of her home and spends about 4 years providing care to a relative and about 24 hours per week of care to that loved one. Usually it starts pretty slowly. You start to take your mom to some medical appointments, then you start picking up some items for her at the store, or you start to help her pick up her prescription after the appointment. Then you start to pick up some things around her home when you're dropping her back off from that appointment. And then you start grocery shopping for her while you're at the grocery store, making extra meals and bringing them over to her. And then all of a sudden she'll slip in the bathroom and you go over every single time that she wants to shower. So it just generally progresses pretty slowly, but quickly to some people. The value of family caregivers in the United States, caregivers gave over 37 billion of hours of care every year, and this number is just increasing as the number of older adults increases in the United States. And the value of this unpaid family caregiving was $470 billion 5 years ago in 2013, which was more than Medicaid and paid home care spending. And it also almost matched the value of Walmart. And I'm sure that this number has really changed significantly in the past 5 years and only increased. So on to caregiver stress and burnout. So some signs of if you might be a stressed out caregiver or you are starting to experience some burnout as a caregiver. You start to have social withdrawal from family, friends, or social activities. You start saying things like, I don't care about going to lunch with my friends or my coworkers anymore. You have increased anxiety. So what happens? You start thinking things like, what happens when I can't provide this care anymore, or if I'm not able to provide this care anymore. You're constantly feeling exhausted or having changes in your sleep patterns, thinking, I'm too tired to keep doing this. You feel irritable, depressed, blue, or hopeless. You start thinking things like, please just leave me alone, or not really caring as much anymore. You have a loss of interest in things that you used to be really interested in, such as not caring what your neighbors are up to anymore, or not going to a weekly meeting with your friends, or going to get coffee. And then you have either a loss or a gain of appetite or weight. So this is craving foods that you didn't used to usually crave, or losing weight and you're not really sure why, gaining weight and you're not really sure why. So how can you be a healthy caregiver? If you are experiencing any of these signs or symptoms of caregiver stress or burnout, contact your doctor. And just because you have one of those signs doesn't mean you necessarily are stressed out or burnt out. It's just a great list to, if you check many of those boxes, to probably contact your doctor, start thinking a little bit of change. Set realistic expectations for yourself. So make sure you're still taking care of yourself. It's not realistic to think that you're going to stay up for 18 hours a day every single day, not get any sleep, skip meals, not skip your regular doctor's appointments. You can join a support group either in person or online, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. And when you're in those support groups, be honest about your feelings and share how you're feeling, because very likely other people are feeling the same way, and you're going to connect with them over that. If you don't have friends or family that you can lean on for some support, try to look into hiring some help, even if it's just for a couple hours a week. Or if you're taking care of somebody from a distance, hiring help might be a really great option for you. Set aside some time for yourself, even if it's just an hour or half an hour every day, or taking a 15-minute walk, walking on your lunch break, just little things that you can do for yourself. And educate yourself. We're so lucky to live in the age of the internet where you can just Google anything that you might need an answer to and get it right away, whether that's on your phone, at your desk, while you're at home taking care of somebody. So some more tips on managing your stress. Of course, we all know that we're supposed to exercise, eat well, and get enough sleep. So exercise doesn't have to mean going to the gym every day and smashing out a workout for an hour. It could just be taking a 15-minute walk inside the mall while you're there running some errands, or going to a regularly scheduled exercise class. Eating well, so trying to avoid sugary foods or drinking a lot of caffeine that's going to make you crash and not feel well later in the day. Getting enough sleep, so 6 to 8 hours a night. Visiting your doctor regularly, at least once a year. Try to practice maybe some meditation or take regular deep breaths. A tip I've heard from somebody is they literally set an alarm on their phone for every hour to remind them to take one deep breath. And that's just 5 seconds every hour that you take for yourself. And it's really, really healthy for you because usually we breathe very shallowly during the day. Maybe you could try doing some yoga or some light stretching. Talk to a friend or another family member. Somebody doesn't know what you're going through unless you tell them what you're going through, and be honest and ask for help if you need it. Schedule some time for yourself, as I've been saying, and if it's important to you, look to your face. So balancing work and caregiving. So working family caregivers. An employee family caregiver is defined as someone who is providing unpaid assistance to a family member, friend, or a loved one while also working outside of their home. This definition I don't love because it doesn't include people that work from home, but as long as you have some kind of paid job, you are a employee family caregiver. About half of the workforce identifies as a family caregiver, and the average family caregiver works 35 hours per week while providing that 24 hours of care a week to a loved one. So as I said, only about half of the workforce is an employee family caregiver, but only about half of all supervisors know that their employee is a family caregiver. So it's really important to talk to your employer so that it won't come off as a surprise for them when you need to take that last minute time off, and they might have some resources for you. A really important question I think to ask is, what's the best protocol to let you know if I have an emergency come up, or what have other caregivers done in my situation in the past and handled this challenge? Over 60% of employee family caregivers have needed to make some kind of workplace accommodation, such as going in late, leaving early, taking a leave of absence, turning down a promotion, or retiring early because of their caregiving responsibilities. And be sure to develop a plan with your boss or supervisor to best balance that work and caregiving responsibility. And then once you've developed that plan, make sure you stick to it. So if you are making an accommodation to come in a little late, but you're working a little bit later, make sure you are actually carrying out those responsibilities. Managing your stress in work. So when you're talking to your employer, you could see if there is a support group within your organization. They might be able to refer you to an employee assistance program or an EAP. EAPs offer things like counseling, legal assistance. Some do offer some elder care services, and then a lot of them can be used by a spouse as well. So maybe you want the primary caregiver, but your spouse is, or vice versa, Usually you can use those benefits of the EAP. See if you can work remotely or from home to better manage maybe taking mom to the doctor in the middle of the day. See if you can use your paid time off, such as your sick or vacation time, for some caregiving responsibilities. And then FMLA is available to just about everybody in the country. It was created in 1993, and it's a law that provides up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave for family medical reasons. And in California, most people are eligible for this to be partially paid. So maintaining a balance between work and caregiving. If there's not a support group option within your organization and you feel your organization is large enough, try to create one. You don't need a professional to mediate for you. You can just talk about challenges and how other people have solved them and share resources with each other. You could create a listserv for other caregivers in your workplace, and the listserv is just an email list to share resources, articles, upcoming events, webinars, only to the people who subscribe to that listserv. You could bring in people to do lunch and learns who are experts on certain topics, and you can ask local organizations for some recommendations. Other Health does offer lunch and learns on family caregiving. And then you could also put on a health or a wellness fair and bring in local organizations that can help with caregiving, or maybe some in-home care, some home health care, adult day centers. With everything, it's important to set goals, even with your caregiving and managing your stress. So it might seem unachievable to start and do right away, but if you set some kind of small achievable goal, you will be able to reach that goal. So maybe just starting with making an appointment with your doctor, setting aside 15 minutes 3 times a week to go for a walk, or attending a yoga class once a week. All very small things that you could manage to do and create a habit of, and then you will start to feel a little healthier. If you're able to as well, create a team. Identify strengths and weaknesses of everyone involved with your team. So maybe you're really good at communication, but somebody else, such as your sister, is really great at finances, or maybe you're really great at keeping organized and paperwork organized, but someone else is better at talking to doctors and care professionals. Stay involved, of course, with any professionals involved in this team, so doctors, nurses, case managers, transportation coordinators, and be sure to have a HIPAA release signed by all your loved ones' doctors so that you can stay involved with them, and that's something that you can just ask next time you go to the clinic. Using your work breaks. So our breaks at work could be a great way that we can help ourselves feel a little bit less stressed, use a little bit of time to manage our caregiving duties. So maybe just using your lunch break or your commute to stay in touch with your loved one or others on your care team. You can use that extra time to maybe research a diagnosis, a new prescription, or local resources. Online, again, it's just such a great tool where you can order groceries or use Amazon to order other household items, so that saves you a trip to the store. Making a doctor's appointment or calling a doctor's office and finding out how mom's doctor appointment went. Again, it's something you would even do on your commute. Attend a virtual support group on your lunch break, and just like attending this webinar. Take a walk for just 15-20 minutes to clear your mind. Or maybe it's just leaving your house a little bit earlier to stop at a coffee shop for 15 minutes and just take 15 minutes to yourself to relax before you start your day. So joining a support group, I've mentioned it many times already today. I really think they are such a great way for caregivers to connect and not feel as isolated. Many are offered through either your hospital, a living facility, or a nonprofit. So you can check with any of those places, and I'm sure if they don't offer them, they can refer you to something else. Or you can just simply search online for whatever you're looking for, such as dementia support group, and then either your zip code or city. Some of the benefits of support groups are sharing challenges with solutions, discovering community resources, talking about your feelings of being a caregiver and how to handle them, different concerns that you have in difficult situations, how to approach them, and then meeting others who are going through such a similar experience that you can connect to. Facebook is also a really great resource for those of you who maybe don't want to attend a support group in person. There are a lot of private, closed Facebook groups just for caregivers, and again, just people sharing ideas and struggles, different challenges, different resources that have worked for them. And if you aren't finding exactly what you're looking for, chances are there's someone else looking for the same thing. So you can always start one of those Facebook groups, or start a support group in your community. So why is this all so important? Caregiver health is crucial to the care recipient's health. So when a family caregiver is not healthy, the care recipient is more likely to end up having pressure sores, falls, and becoming institutionalized or hospitalized. And when a caregiver is experiencing depression, a care recipient is more likely to report being depressed as well. So I have this picture of the lady with the airplane oxygen mask, because we all know when the oxygen mask comes down in front of us on the plane, what are we supposed to do first? We're supposed to help help ourselves before we help others. And it's the same with caregiving. We need to care for ourselves first before we can truly help others and be the best that we can be. And caregiver burnout is a real thing. Be sure to always ask for help before the stress starts affecting your health and the health of the person that you're caring for. Remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness or failure. And just as I said, it's important to take care of yourself first before you start taking care of others. So some options for in-home support if you feel that you do need an extra set of scans. So friends, family, and neighbors, don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it, and don't be afraid to accept their help when they offer. Usually if someone's offering help, they truly mean it and they truly want to help. They see that you need that. So just keep a little small list of things that they can help with. So maybe they can just stay with your loved one so that you can go on a walk, or they can pick up some things next time they're at the grocery store for you. Maybe someone that you're closer with, such as a family member, can help you make appointments or fill out insurance paperwork. As I keep saying, wait until you're too overwhelmed to ask for help. So some other options for professionals to help are adult daycare. This is great for people who work the regular 9 to 5. This is a place that your loved one can go and spend the day with other professionals. This is especially great for somebody with dementia, and it's usually very affordable compared to a lot of other options for seniors to get some help. They offer group activities, meals. They have professionals on staff such as nurses and other people who are trained, caregivers who are trained in dementia, and many of them also offer like physical and occupational therapy. In-home care is where you bring a caregiver into your home and they can stay with your loved one, again, while you go to work if you need it, or just check in on them for a few hours during the day. They can even help with doing some of the housework or meal preparation, so that takes a little bit of a load off of you. And then usually in-home care can go up to 24 hours a day, so if someone needs continual supervision. They can also help with dressing, showers, doing physical therapy exercises, transportation, medication reminders. Respite care facilities. So a lot of assisted living and memory care facilities offer respite services where somebody can go for a few days at a time, usually like two to 3 days or up to a week at a time. If the caregiver needs a break or maybe you're going on vacation. And then personal emergency response buttons are personal buttons that somebody can wear in case of a fall or another emergency. Again, great for somebody who is alone most of the time. This can be worn into their necklace or a bracelet depending on the preference of the person wearing it. And this can be for any kind of emergency. It doesn't just have to be for a fall. It could be if somebody is having a seizure, they could press the button, or they're just not feeling well, they need somebody to come and help them out. It can even be for a fire or a burglar if they can't get to the phone. Also great for people who are long distance and can't check in normally on their loved ones. So some resources here local to San Diego. Elder Health is a great resource if you need some help with transportation as a caregiver. We have tons of things to help you, as I mentioned before. The VA, if your loved one is a veteran. Excuse me. If you are caring for somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia, Alzheimer's San Diego is a great resource locally. And then our local area agency on aging is Aging and Independent Services. And then nationally, Homestead Senior Care, they offer some really great tips and resources for caregivers. Lately, I've been subscribed to their email list, attending some of their webinars, and they are just really awesome. I've been really enjoying them lately. Caregiving.org, again, another national alliance for caregivers that is an online resource. They also have local coalitions. AARP has some great resources for family caregivers. Daughters in the Workplace is specific for the working family caregiver. Great resources there. And then every county in the United States has an area agency on aging that you can contact and get some local resources they will be able to provide you with. And then just a little more about Elder Health. We do offer services for older adults, such as the transportation, as I mentioned, care coordination. We can also just come in and help with someone with companionship, taking a walk, going to the grocery store, sorting their mail. We can do home safety and maintenance checks and also check-in calls daily. So next month, be sure to join on October 18th for our webinar on in-home care options. I'll go into some of the things I mentioned today in more depth. And does anyone have any questions? Looks like someone sent a resource, the San Diego Union Tribune. They do have a really great website as well for caregivers with a lot of articles on different caregiving, and it looks like the one that they sent has local support groups if anyone is looking for that. So thank you so much for sharing. And I will go ahead and just stay on for if anyone has any other questions. If you want to ask me a question in private, please go ahead and email me. My email is down here. And you can always call Elder Help or email us as well. But thanks so much for joining in today, everyone.